I'm Danielle Scott.
And I'm Julian Scott, and we're sitting inside of one of our bedrooms of our soon-to-be completed construction that we're working on right now. So we started off by finding a lot, and with finding the lot, we were a little bit restricted because it's a very narrow Denver lot. So everything we had to do had to fall within kind of the city perimeters of what we're allowed to do. And so we have a kind of tall and narrow home here, but this is the first home that we've built on our own. And so we're going through the process with working with HomeWrights to really figure out all the do's and don'ts for what you should do as a home buyer or home builder, excuse me, and figure everything out that way.
Yeah, and I think we started this search. We used to live 16 blocks that way in Denver in the City Park neighborhood, and we knew that we wanted to stay downtown, but the housing market was it had tripled since we had moved here 10 years ago, and so we weren't really finding anything that sort of was an upgrade for us. So we started, one of our neighbors across the street from us actually had a HomeWrights sign in their front yard. We started inquiring about the process, and we were looking at other new builds in town, and we could afford some, but couldn't afford others. And even the ones that we could afford, there were things that we wanted to change about them. So it was just an unideal situation. And after inquiring about the HomeWrights process, we started crunching the numbers, and it became more feasible. And that's kind of how we ended up starting the search for the plot of land. Well, we met with Bob, and he kind of just gave us the impression that we can do it right off the bat. And we had renovated our entire last house ourselves, so we had flipped a 100-year-old Victorian house and kind of got down and dirty with some things that we...
Also lived in a permanent construction zone for the last 7 years, so we figured... let's do this, but not live in it while we're doing it. So
we're really comfortable being uncomfortable. So
you like dust.
Yeah.
That's right.
A little dust for breakfast doesn't bother you.
That's right.
Let me be honest about one thing. I'm looking at the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. You definitely will have the nicest house in the neighborhood.
Yes.
What drew you to this neighborhood when there's some beautiful spots in Denver that would just, I don't know how to say it different, but this is going to stand out.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is really an area that we see all the future developments for Denver and how we're expanding here. And so right behind us, we have new industry building that's being built. Across the street from that is going to be the new World Trade Center that's going to be built there. And, new apartments, new restaurants. So we're right at kind of the tipping point for this area here. So it's going to start to just absolutely grow exponentially from here on out. So a little bit of a chance to take in this neighborhood with building the biggest and tallest house here, but it's something we're kind of investing that the rest of the neighborhood is going to continue to grow at this rate.
Yeah, and we had done a lot of research on the major developments and people sinking millions of dollars in large industrial projects in the area, obviously before choosing this plot of land. And being younger couple, we wanted to definitely stay in an urban setting. And the 38th and Blake Light Rail Station is right through our backyard. And Brighton Boulevard sort of turning into, what do you call it, like the new DTC, like business center downtown here in Denver. So all of that stuff was really exciting to us. And it was really important for us to meet our neighbors, introduce ourselves, explain to them what we're doing. And they've all received it really well. We like to think that we're not afraid to take a risk, and we've always kind of tried to stay in tune with the pulse and what's happening in Denver and bank on these bigger ideas. We had good fortune with our last house to move into the City Park neighborhood kind of while it was an interesting setting maybe 8 years ago.
Well, it was a growing setting.
It was a growing setting, yeah. And then, we like this neighborhood. It's really close to Rhino Arts District, which is walking distance to some of our favorite bars and restaurants. So that was
beautiful graffiti over there.
Yeah.
That's right.
I love the artwork over there. Isn't that great?
It's amazing. Yeah. Keeps things very vibrant and interesting.
So how far do you have to walk to get there from here?
We're
half
about,
a mile?
Yeah, not even, probably 4 blocks, and we're at the entrance of Rhino.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And also, if you kind of drive around some of the other streets, there's probably 10 other new builds going on right now, that way.
Yeah.
It's just this immediate street that is interesting.
So the benefits of working with HomeWrights, what would the benefits be? I'm assuming there's a big financial incentive here?
Yeah, so one of the things right off the bat is we saw that the savings in comparison with going with a traditional build was probably about 15% of our, maybe even more, of our overall cost was something that we were saving. So when we're talking about a competitive market, it made it very easy for us to kind of make that financial decision. The other thing is that we're both very hands-on. I had a little bit of construction background, and Danielle is really an art director, so she has that vision. So in combination, we're a perfect fit. The thing that was missing was how to do things like pour a foundation or get a permit for the house. And so these are things that we never even thought of. And once we started talking to Bob at HomeWrights, we were like, oh, well, if we just had some guidance, we could actually do all of this on our own.
And learn and like adopt it like a sponge. And another thing we found of value was working with the vetted subs that they kind of all recommend and watching them, talking with them, learning from them, whether they like it or not. But we've kind of soaked it all up, and we feel like confident that we could probably do this again if we wanted to in the future. So it's been a great learning experience for us, and we're getting things we feel at cost, which is part of the savings.
So you're cutting out the middleman?
Yeah, we're paying everyone directly. We're seeing every dollar that goes in and out, so there's no mystery behind charges, and people,
No surprises?
Full transparency.
Yeah, people get paid when they complete the work, and that's that. So it's nice.
And so the quality of the vendors, that's a big deal, isn't it?
It is, and it's also tough because it's, for someone like a framer, you can't really go in and inspect someone's framing job somewhere. So there's a little bit of faith there, and also meeting the right person. But once a house is built, you can't really get behind the drywall and see how well they did.
Right.
So there's some interesting things that are kind of the first chance you have of going in there and connecting with someone. Say, hey, show me your work. Sometimes they have that ability if there's something in progress,
Right.
but other times you're also looking for someone who's worked, 20, 30, 100 projects. Like for instance, we're using, Executive Builders. What's their name?
Al?
Yeah, his
I think
company name.
it's Executive Builders.
Okay.
Al Lopez and his crew.
Yeah.
For the framing?
For the framing. And they work a lot with HomeWrights. And so they are familiar with the process. They also give really good guidance and helped us really kind of walk through all of the nuance of the framing process.
It's sort of like active problem solving together too.
Sure.
So while they're building, we're here every day because we live 1.5 miles away from the site currently. So if we see something, we talk about it, we change it or leave it pending. And so every day there's been decisions to be made, which is also exhausting, but good.
And are you guys working full-time, or is this your full-time job?
We both work
We
full-time.
both work full time.
You have other jobs besides construction.
Yeah. Sometimes it feels like it's a construction job or construction day, but most of the time it's kind of a morning check-in and then an evening check-in and then a few phone calls throughout the day.
So at the end of the day, at the end of this project, how much do you think you will save, or could you make if you decided to flip it?
That's a good question.
It depends. This house this year or in 3 years?
Either way.
I think probably when it's all said and done, I think we'll probably be ahead in the range of 25 to 30% when it's all said and done.
Equity?
Yeah, in equity right off the bat.
That's pretty fast equity.
It's very fast equity.
Yeah. So compared to doing the traditional approach of the turnkey builder, summarize for me what you think the benefits would be of going with HomeWrights.
I think the customization of the process, obviously the cost savings, and the knowledge for me. I feel like we feel very proud that we're able to do this and work as a team and as a couple, and like this is our baby, so we feel pretty proud.